Hello everyone, my name is Chan Park and today I'm going to be analyzing two ancient wall arts. First one will be from Göbekli Tepe and the second will be from Egypt. Living in Los Angeles, I have always been fascinated with graffitis, murals, and other wall arts I saw around the city. What is interesting is the fact that humans have been writing and painting on walls since prehistoric times. In fact, one of the oldest wall art can be found in numerous cave sites where some of the cave paintings are estimated to be more than 40,000 years old. A lot of the interpretations around these cave paintings are really just speculation. It will always be a mystery why they decided to paint animals or even their hands. Fast forward to the Neolithic period, we see even more mysterious wall arts. This leads to our first piece, Pillar 56 in Enclosure H, found in the ancient site called Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey. First of all, this whole site is a mystery. It is estimated to be around 12,000 years old and has been recognized as the world's oldest temple. It is older than the Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Egypt by many millennia. It is built in the pre-pottery Neolithic period, which was before written language or the invention of the wheel. What is fascinating about this site is the sheer size of it all. The stones are thousands of tons each, and they are cut with such precision that it baffles many modern architects and engineers. Pillar 56 is just one of many T-shaped stone pillars found in Göbekli Tepe. It stands on the eastern wall of the northwestern enclosure of the site. This pillar is only excavated to a height of 2.15 meters, which is around 7 feet, and the shaft is around 0.94 meters wide, and the head is around 1.6 meters wide. It is a massive T-shaped pillar with a southwestern broadside completely covered with reliefs. Here, we can see a total of 55 animals depicted so closely packed that the outline of one animal merges with the contour of the next animal. Considering this is 12,000 years old, many of the depictions are reduced to silhouettes due to natural causes. Thankfully, the reliefs were so well made that we can still see most of it today. When analyzing the reliefs, we can see a group of ducks on the upper part of the pillar. Behind them, we see snakes and a number of four-legged animals, which many experts believe to be felid. In between, we can see a large bird of prey clutching a snake in its claw. What is intriguing is the fact that most of these animals are facing one direction. In the bottom, however, we can see a bird and a snake looking into the opposite direction. Another strange fact is that these animals should not be getting along with one another. Yet in Pillar 56, we see them depicted so closely packed and generally facing the same direction. It is almost as if these animals were running away from something or being drawn into something. Also, that large bird of prey grasping a snake stands out from the symmetry of this wall relief, which implies that it is the most important element within this depiction. Many experts believe this could indicate a narrative character of the whole ensemble. Perhaps it was commemorating an important moment in a lore or myth, or maybe it is symbolic to the culture of its people. To get even more speculative, some believe Pillar 56 is the depiction of animals running away from a cataclysmic event that happened long ago. Some might even add that these animals were in fact entering Noah's Ark during the Great Flood. Nevertheless, we see a clear purpose in this particular wall relief. It was made to last, and it was made to grab people's attention. It was made to share a message, and though it may not be clear, it is always interesting to decipher these messages to gain more insight into the ancient way of life. Next, we'll be visiting Egypt. Ancient Egyptians were known for their great pyramids as well as their numerous temples. In particular, we'll be looking at the Temple of Amun-Re and the Great Hypostyle Hall in Karnak. This massive temple complex of Karnak was the main religious center of the god Amun-Re during the New Kingdom, which lasted from 1550 until 1070 BCE. It is one of the largest religious complexes in the world. Karnak also held the main precincts to the gods Mut and Mantu. Karnak was known in ancient times as the most select of places. It was a place for the gods to dwell on earth, as well as a working estate for the priestly community who lived on site. There were sacred lakes, kitchens, and even workshops built into this complex. One of the greatest architectural marvels of Karnak is the Hypostyle hall, which is a space with a roof supported by columns. It was built during the Ramesside period, and the hall has 134 massive sandstone columns with the center 12 columns standing at 69 feet. As the center of the hall is taller than the other spaces, the Egyptians allowed for clerestory lighting, which is a section of a wall that allowed natural light and air into the otherwise dark spaces below. This temple was designed to represent the Egyptian creation story. The pylons or gateways in the temple represent the horizon. Further inside, the floor rises to reach the sanctuary, which was to represent the rising mound, like that during creation. Here, we can see many different types of wall art. Like most of the temple, the hall would have been brightly painted. Some of this paint still remains on the upper portions of the columns and ceilings, as you can see here in this picture. In fact, the ceilings of the temple would have been decorated with stars and birds to represent the sky. The columns were also designed with paintings and reliefs depicting lotus, papyrus, and palm plants as a way to reflect the marsh-like environment of the first time, or the first day of creation. We can clearly see that the Egyptian designers made sure the paintings and the reliefs made sense with the architectural storytelling. One great example of this would be the outer areas of Karnak, which, located near the Nile River, would flood during the annual inundation. This was an intentional effect by the ancient designers in order to enhance the temple's symbolism. Pharaohs Seti I, Ramesses II, and their successors all demanded their artisans that the walls and columns be covered with hundreds of religious scenes. This resulted in acres of relief carvings and wall paintings that depict scenes of historical and religious significance. Many of these wall arts were accompanied by hieroglyphic caption text describing ritualistic scenes and practices. In Karnak, we can even see depictions of a pharaoh appearing before the gods to receive their approbation of his earthly dominion over Egypt. We can see the pharaoh receiving his scepter and having water poured over his head. In other scenes, we can even see pieces of propaganda depicting Egypt's foreign relations in the 13th century BCE. We see here in this picture a relief of Pharaoh Seti I living in war in the northern exterior wall of the Hypostyle hall. In the northern and southern exterior walls, we can see panoramic battle scenes sculpted in relief carvings, immortalizing the wars of Seti I and Ramesses II in ancient Syria, Canaan, and Lebanon. In the end, we see that wall art was used by the Egyptians for a variety of things, but it was mainly reserved for one specific purpose: to tell their story. We can see similar purpose and technique in wall art today. In Los Angeles, we have murals depicting Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, and Nipsey Hussle. Today, we use wall art to memorialize, advertise, and to spread information on a massive scale, just as the ancient Egyptians did. Wall art has been one of the most popular and significant style of art in all of human history. It is no wonder why people today still paint and draw on walls. There is something special about covering a huge wall with paintings and reliefs and carvings, and is undeniably significant to the development and understanding of humankind.